Okay, are you ready? Let's do this. Whoa. Oh. Hey there, and welcome back to an episode of Watch or Not, the series I like the first episode, and my name's are you watching the show or not? And today it's Kaguya-Sama, Love is War. Oh man, I was blown away from the very start. I knew a bit about the story before, that there were going to be two younglings there who were in love, and didn't want to confess to each other, but I was expecting more of this high school drama vibe. Nothing like this. It's like they went full out trying to please their ADHD-ridden people by throwing all kinds of visuals in your face. Everything's moving at a breakneck speed. You instantly get introduced to the premise by a narrator using quick cuts. And then the main characters are introduced and you get to learn their backstory too. And we quickly get to the war part that's in the title. Because they're waging a war of minds, trying to make each other confess their love first. Now, the opening music feels kinda cheesy, but I have to admit that it goes really well together with the animation and portrays everything that they're going to cover in the story. I think it's even an original song made for this anime, so But about the show itself. The presentation has this really dramatic and cartoonish vibe to it. They use all kinds of different methods to tell the story, cutting out the backgrounds, motion graphics, and even the threaded CGI. Did we really need a 3D render of the entire room? So, for our main characters we have this girl who is rich and pompous, and this guy who is smart and self-centered. So pretty much different sides of the same coin. They both expect each other to confess their love to each other at the start of the school year, but nothing happens. So we get a time skip of half a year, showing that really nothing has advanced, except both of them are pretty anxious about the situation. And this is where the meat of the story comes in. It looks to me like this is going to be an episodic show, and even the episodes themselves are separated into smaller stories, where they're put in a position where they'd have to confess to each other, but have to adapt and overcome. The first episode is pretty much divided into 4 parts. The introduction part, where we get the backstory and all kinds of relevant information. The second part, where movie tickets are introduced and the boy has to ask out the girl, but that would seem like he's asking her on a date, but that can't really go, so they're really playing against each other there. The third part, where the girl gets a love letter and tries to make the guy jealous and try to make him confess, but that also doesn't really go anywhere. And the fourth part, which is feeding each other. The guy brings in food that he made at home, and the girl just wants to eat it, but is too shy to ask. And I can guarantee you that it's much more interesting in the show than I'm saying right now. And I'm giving this show a not. But why, when I built the show up so much? Well, for me it fails at the most important part, the core, which is that it's trying to be a comedy show, but in my opinion, it's just not that great. Don't get me wrong, I loved it in the beginning, it had flashy visuals that kept me entertained, and the premise seemed so ridiculously insane that it was funny. But once you get past the initial shock factor, you realize that they're just doing the same joke over and over and over again. For me, it started getting dull around the halfway mark. Like, yeah, it's a fun idea on paper, but at the end of the day, you're still handling pretty average situations and just trying to make the other person jealous. And that's all. And the jokes here aren't even that deep or well thought out. They're mostly based on visual humor where a person does something and the other person overreacts. But it just isn't worth that much of an overreaction. It's Neo Yoki all over again, being so bad that it's good. But while that was only 6 episodes, this is 12. But then again, humor is subjective. While I might not like it, you might like it. And God only knows that there are people who find Big Bang Theory funny, so this should actually float well in the mainstream. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you actually like this. Do you like this kind of humor? Because I got a lot of flack for Grand Blue when I said not for that show too. And after watching it, I would probably even be harsher than I was in the video, because it just wasn't that good. While on the other hand, I found Hinamatsuri one of the funniest shows of the entire year. So yeah, I don't know. But next week we're doing Rising of the Shield Hero. Check back next Sunday, drop a like if you haven't yet, and I'll see you then. Bye.